Hello everyone and welcome to this week's sports podcast. Now this week's podcast has been recorded on Friday the 12th of February late in the evening, so I'm going to try and start with a different approach this week. And first of all, rather than going straight to the football, we'll talk about the highlights of what's happened through the sporting week. So obviously last Sunday we had the Superbowl, which was won by the Buccaneers when they beat the Chiefs in the final, and Tom Brady proved he probably is the GOAT by totally outplaying Patrick Mahomes, although it wasn't down to them two players, but obviously Brady played a major part. Obviously he won the award for the best player. He's done that, I think, is it 5 times now? He's won 7 times the Super Bowl, so well done to him. So the season's over now for the American football. I think it's September, it'll probably start again, or pre-match will be in August. Another big event this week was England winning the first test in the cricket against India, and that was a fantastic result. Joe Root keeping up his fantastic form. He's had I think he scored 600 plus runs in the last 3 matches or something like that, past 3 test matches. So it's good to see that his captaincy isn't taking too much away from his batting. He's done really well, and there's some good performances by Dom Sibley and Ben Stokes in the first innings. And it was good to see Jack Leach getting back into it with some wickets in the second innings after taking a bit of a battering from Rishabh Pant in the first innings. So the second test starts tomorrow morning in the early hours, so let's hope England can take a 2-0 lead. They need to win by, I think they need to win 3 matches in the series to qualify for a World Test Championship final. India need to win 2 matches and win the series. So either team could get through to face New Zealand yet in the final, but if they both cancel each other out here, Australia could sneak into the final through the back door, and it wouldn't be a big surprise, would it, if Australia sneaked their way in. So we'll see what happens there. Midweek we had the FA Cup 5th round, and the only real surprise I can think of was the fact that Bournemouth won 2-0 at Burnley, so they're through to the quarter-finals. And the quarter-final draw was made yesterday evening, and basically the 2 highlight ties for me are Everton against Manchester City and Leicester against Manchester United. So be interested to see how they work out. Most of the teams left in, I think, is only Bournemouth who are a non-Premier League team that are left in. I stand to be correct, but I think that's how it is at the moment. One controversy from during the week was the fact that some of the games had VAR, everyone's didn't, and I think particularly the Bristol City manager Dean Holden felt a bit put out by the fact that he'd conceded a penalty to Sheffield United, and he wasn't saying that it wasn't a penalty, but he's saying it wasn't a level playing field because of a game such as the one I saw Barnsley against Chelsea last night, where Barnsley possibly Chelsea could have had a penalty in the first half on Tammy Abraham, but it wasn't given because there was no VAR to check it, so it wasn't right really. Either have all games of it or don't have them at all. So tell me what you think in the comments about VAR in terms of whether all games should have it or not. So this weekend we're back to Premier League action, and the big games this weekend, well, Liverpool will play away to Leicester tomorrow lunchtime. It's on BT Sport. And then at tea time, Manchester City against Tottenham, which is on Sky. And on Sunday, the big game is Arsenal against Leeds. And I've got a feeling Leeds might fancy their chances here. Arsenal have been going well, but they've started to stutter again a little bit more recently. Not been quite at the best. And Leeds have started to pick up again. So I'd expect to see a few goals in that game. And it could be definitely one worth watching. So keep your eyes on that. It's obviously still fairly close at the top, but Manchester City seem to have pulled away a little bit now. They've had a good run of games. I think they're the first team, top flight team, to win 15 matches in a row in the domestic competitions, breaking a record I think was originally set in the 1880s or 1890s by Preston, and the feat was equalled in the 1987-88 season by Arsenal. So it's quite an achievement, and they look to be very, very good at the moment. Not quite invincible, but close to what they were a couple of seasons ago when they were really difficult to beat in the season where Liverpool pushed them all the way, even though they lost their odd game in the season. So I think Manchester City now put themselves in the driving seat. Liverpool need to find a way to make sure they don't fall out of the top 4 as well, because their form has been very patchy recently. Leicester are keeping it going. Manchester United are playing well, and you've still got teams like Tottenham, Chelsea, and even Aston Villa and Everton in there, and West Ham. Keep forgetting to mention West Ham. They're doing well this season as well. So those teams are all of a shout, probably the top 4 or the top 6. Let me know who you think will finish in the Champions League spots in the comments below, and also who you think might finish in Europa League places. In terms of Halifax Town, well, their game tomorrow against Dover has been called off already because of the inclement weather. It's frozen pitch. It's been difficult weather conditions this week, as most people have seen. So next Tuesday now, the game against Chesterfield was called off because there was a positive COVID case in Chesterfield's squad. But the game we had last Tuesday at Barnet, which was called off due to bad weather, has now been arranged for this next coming Tuesday, so the 16th on the 16th of February, 7 p.m. Barnet versus Halifax is now taking place. £12.50, I believe, to stream the match. I saw a few comments saying that's a little bit steep, and I've got to say I agree. I think £10 would be a fair price for all the teams to charge. And again, if you've got any comments on that or feel you'd like to make input something to the discussion, please feel free to do so in the comments below. And now moving on to other sports that we haven't talked about yet this week. Speedway, they're looking to start the season on the 3rd of May as far as I can see. Sheffield have already announced that their first meeting will be on Thursday the 6th of May at home to Bellevue. The first meeting on TV will be on that Monday the 3rd of May. I haven't seen confirmation of who was riding who on that day, but my gut feeling is that it will be something like Ipswich against Kings Lynn, maybe home and away, Wolves and Bellevue home and away, and possibly Peterborough and Sheffield, but I'm not sure. That's sort of a little bit of guesswork. It's a bit sad that there are only 6 teams in the top league, and it means there's a lot of repetition of fixtures, and sometimes the fans get a bit bored of seeing the same teams riding against each other all the time. So it'll be interesting to see what crowds are like, of course, if crowds are going to be allowed. It may well be that they may not be allowed in full or large numbers at the start of the season, but hopefully by summer, when we've got all the over 50s vaccinated against COVID, we may see some relaxation of the rules in terms of sporting events. The press has come up with some suggestions that maybe people will be allowed back in pubs in May, and there's some other shops will be opening in April, but it's all a bit of guesswork at the moment until the Prime Minister lays out his framework for the roadmap out of lockdown. I think it's going to be on the 22nd of February, so keep your eyes on that. We're still waiting for confirmation, going back to football here, as to whether the National League season will be continuing or not. There's been some dispute as to whether it's financially viable for some of the teams, including Dover, who would have been Halifax's opponents tomorrow. They said they were close to coming. They may have to be forced, should I say, to cease trading this week, and that would be terrible for the game. But just shows what a precarious position the teams are in at that level, and probably at a level higher even, than that. So, yeah. With regards to things coming up this weekend, we've got, I've already mentioned the Premier League football matches. We've got the Australian Tennis Championship still continuing. I've sort of been following what's been going on, and I've seen that, again, because of COVID, fans are no longer allowed in the stadium after today or after last night because there's a 5-day quarantine in Melbourne, so it was a bit unfortunate for people that bought tickets. It'd be interesting to see whether Novak Djokovic can go on and win the tournament. It's been a tough match today, or I don't know if it's finished actually. In the women's tournament, I believe Serena Williams is still in it, so while she's still in it, there's got to be a chance she'll win it. I saw that the defending champion has gone out. Ashley Barty is the world number 1, I believe, in the women's game, so again, she's probably still in it, I think. So, yeah. I'd like to thank people who've given me positive feedback so far on the podcasts I've done. I think this is the 4th one now that I've done. Had some good comments, and also I promised to share the video every week on Twitter as well as Facebook and YouTube, just so people that don't have Facebook can see it. So thanks to Simon Collins for pointing it out to me, and also after discussing it with him, when we get into the summer, I will be adopting Bradshaw Cricket Club as my local cricket team and trying to keep up to date with how they're getting on. If there's anybody else who's got any local teams that I'd like to give a shout out to that I haven't mentioned previously, or feel are worthy of a mention in this podcast, then again, just send me a comment. Either put it in the comments below, tweet me, or put it on the YouTube feedback in the comment area on there. So this week's video is a little bit shorter because basically there hasn't probably been as much sporting action that people are going to be interested as there have been in some other weeks. The FA Cup is a great traditional cup competition, but people don't seem to be as interested anymore, and I think that's sort of like summed up by the fact that this last round was played in midweek, just sort of try and get it in, because the Champions League, which I need to have actually just remembered, actually starts again next week, I believe, a European competition. So, and the British teams have been affected. I think Liverpool, Manchester City, and Manchester United have been affected by the fact that they can't play the games in the countries they were supposed to be playing. I know Manchester City was supposed to be playing Liverpool. I believe, Manchester City was supposed to be playing in Germany against Mönchengladbach, and Liverpool were against Leipzig. And I believe that they've been moved to neutral venues in Hungary, and Manchester United's game, I think, has been moved to Italy or somewhere like that, but you may be able to correct me on that. So, like I say, the Champions League next week, so we'll have more to talk about after that. And then we're coming towards, well, we've got the second round of the Six Nations this weekend, haven't we? I mean, I don't really follow rugby union that closely, but I did watch part of the England-Scotland game on Saturday, and England performed very poorly, I thought. Maybe it was the fact that, there were no fans there. Twickenham was a massive stadium, 80,000 people in there, creates some atmosphere, having been there myself. And maybe that favoured the Scots. Scottish people might not agree. If the Scottish friends are watching, tell us what you think. But yeah, it's an important game. England have Italy tomorrow, I understand, and they should win that one, but there's pressure on now to perform and try and get back into the tournament. Scotland are playing Wales, and Ireland play France, as far as I'm aware, so keep your eyes out on those as well. We're not far away from the Super League starting now. I believe that starts in about 4 weeks' time. So we'll have an update on anything of interest there, local teams. And again, if you've got any news or anything you want to input about Rugby League, whether it be the Championship or Super League, again, make your comments about that. So I'm going to wrap up there for now, and like I say, keep your comments coming, any feedback, it's appreciated, whether it be positive or negative, as long as it's constructive, I don't mind. So there we go for now, and I'll be back with another one next week. Bye for now.